Since its introduction in the US in September 2020, the VW ID4 has had quite a journey. Built on Volkswagen's all-electric MEB platform, the ID4 impressed everybody with its features, price, and build. I remember my first drive and impressions, its ride and handling of turns, its cabin experience with its very distinct instrument cluster, shifter, and even its autonomous parking feature. I was also very disappointed then with the way it was pitched to me, offering 3 years of free unlimited charging on Electrify America, an incentive that was an out and out wrong way of selling and which is now capped at 500 kilowatt hours. Its very modest EV centric features too were not up to the mark. Those features have gradually improved and have now been ramped up. In this video, we'll review the refreshed ID4 and look at some of those enhancements. So let's get into it. The VW ID4 is 180.5 inches long, 72.9 inches wide, and 64.4 inches tall. That's with the 108.7 inches wheelbase and 6.6 inches ground clearance. It offers 30.3 cubic feet of cargo all in the rear with no front trunk and 4,665 pounds of curb weight. Its performance is enhanced in the all-wheel drive at 295 horsepower combined between the two motors, with the rear-wheel drive retained at 201. Its critical problem was and continues to be its low DC charging rate, which too differed based on the make of the battery that VW decided to option for the buyer. This was not a decision which buyers had a say in, and in fact was completely arbitrary from VW, with most buyers completely unaware of it. That option of the battery had a contrasting effect on the DC charging experience. At the time of making this video, South Korea had urged automakers to disclose battery brands. I'll leave that news article in the links. The AC charging was a healthy 11 kilowatt or 48 amps. The ID4 does 3 to 3.1 miles per kilowatt hour, and that's fair given its boxy design. Always a trade-off with more sleeker cars with far lesser cargo capacity. If you would like to see our early take on the new 2024 ID4 with all the detailed specs, you can check that video here or via its link in the description. So what's new? The new ID4 now gets a faster DC charging rate, more power and longer range. The rear electric motor in most of the trims with the 82 kWh battery has been upgraded. The 0 to 60 performance of the rear wheel drive improved by 2 seconds and that of the all wheel drive has improved by up to 1 second, all on the improved electric setup. That's a gradual but important change, and surely one that will make this car that much more enticing. The ID4 has retained the controversial 2-button shared control for the front and rear windows. In fact, this design has been catching up as we even saw it in the Polestar model. At the front, the ID4 retains its signature smiling headlights. The LED light bar, now standard across the VW line, runs across the front. The ID4 is pretty much the boxy SUV with a solid structure and build, and that comes through. It does not offer the front trunk, and that is one feature which is very subjective for individual users. To me, it's certainly not something that brings the roof down, but to some seasoned EV users, it could be important, particularly as this car is built to be a daily driver. A slightly longer body length would probably add larger cargo space almost instantly. The cargo has a 2-stage design with a load flow that can be moved and goes right down to the storage well, where VW keeps the adapters, charging cords, and the tire repair kit. From the sides, the ID4 maintains the boxy appearance on the roof roughly till the center until it shows a clear drop downwards towards the rear. That almost certainly reduces the promised cargo capacity. At the rear, the red LED turn signals and brake lights complete the design, along with the red pipe lights and the VW logo. Underneath that is the black plastic lower portion of the bumper. That's sensible in maintenance with its ease of replacement. The light bar in the rear also has smaller light modules that add to the design. The hatch of the ID4 is significantly high and serves users like me at 5'11" very well. The ID4 has high seats and they sit upright. The tilt telescopic steering wheel and the 4-way lumbar make driving it really comfortable. That steering column now holds the shifter. The rear seats have a 60-40 recline design and the ski pass through to the cargo. Over the rear mirrors are the controls for the reading lights, power shades for the panoramic moonroof, and controls for sun visors. The two-tone seats have a darker charcoal in the middle and grey behind. The ID logo is presented in the perforations and the seats have height adjustable shoulder belts and headrests. The same colors in the seats are carried to the door panels with a soft touch insert in the same charcoal and grey. The window switches in the ID4 continue on the controversy with just one button and toggle for both the front and rear windows. The dash has soft touch on top with hard plastic underneath around the glove box. The ambient lighting appears to have changed with the ID Assist light bar at the top. The dash has vents at the side in the midsection. The larger vents sit under the infotainment system and the floor of the ID4 looks significantly flat. That increases the available storage in the middle. The infotainment screen has backlit buttons at the bottom and the software in the ID4 has been majorly updated. The immediately enhanced part of the software is the response rates. The screens are surely loading rapidly and the refresh rates are truly stunning now. It would be interesting to see them in action in a real road trip. That would be its true test. The navigation screen UI is not the one for me. For sure, it's typically the first mile to get right for cars that don't really feel home designing the UI and UX. And the ID4 is not there yet, I'm afraid for me. In navigation, drivers need to quickly learn about roads, see exits and the information on road numbers, speed, etc. clearly. Outside of the Google Maps and Tesla, that's not been to my satisfaction. Some of that will surely resolve with use and familiarity, but I still can't understand why it can't be instantly right. The ID4 retains the instrument cluster with a small yet significant tweak. The shifter moves to the more conventional spot now mounted on the steering column. It still is a twist to shift design and not the pull and move up one. This is an increasingly visible trend now to get the shifter up like we saw in the Tesla Model 3 earlier and Y currently. Tesla had it on the infotainment screen for the Model S and X and has been increasingly moving it there on newer models, like we see in the refreshed Model 3 and in the Cybertruck. The shifter not being on the console means additional real estate. The ID4 has the two cup holders, the large wireless charging space along with storage, with even more storage under the armrest on the center console. The steering wheel has a 3-spoke design, the buttons have a 2-stage haptic feedback with the volume and cruise control on the left spoke and the controls for the multifunction instrument cluster and heated seats on the right. The ID4 has 235mm tires in the front and 255 in the rear. That's not a square setup and immediately means these can't be rotated like many EV users would like to for longer lasting. The front tires are 235/50 R20 and at 50 that's a very high aspect ratio or more cushion on the 20-inch wheels. The giveaway automatically is the performance and it's anyway not on any sporty mission. Having said that, the recent refreshes have resulted in significant improvements in the 0 to 60 numbers. In both the all-wheel drive and the rear-wheel drive trims, that aspect ratio to me is the reason for the very high cabin comfort and good ride. The turning radius of the front wheels will be another thing to notice and will be felt in those everyday daily drives. In a nutshell, the ID4 brings lots of comfort with these design decisions on the wheels and tires. On handling roads, the ID4 will not exceed the Tesla Model Y. And conversely, with the ride comfort, it will beat the Model Y. The Model Y certainly feels way too soft in comparison to the ID4. The cabin noise is at expected levels in comparison to the average EV out there. Good, but nothing great to write home about. Its performance and efficiency, as stated earlier, has improved, though it's not the goal of this car clearly. You need utility, cargo space, and easy city driving. You got to give up on things to be experienced on the highway. So nothing wrong with that. The ID4 almost instantly compares with its sister car, the Audi Q4. You can check that video here or with its link in the description. It also compares with the Chevy Equinox and the Chevy Blazer. Two cars I have not yet covered on this channel. If one were to look at the most stark of differences with those two, the ID4 has a bigger motor in the rear, against the front axle bias of those two. That's an interesting twist. Primarily the ID4 is built for everyday driving, with some fun to be had from time to time. The ID4 is always a compelling car. It's got a very distinct place even amongst the rapidly increasing EV choices, with its robust features and comfort. And being among the few and fast shrinking list of foreign brands that qualify for the full federal tax credit, it's that much more attractive on value. I just wish that the dealers get their act together in putting it across to the customers for the right reasons. I just wish that VW gets its charging and infrastructure on which it depends right. I also wish that its sales network starts proactively presenting it in light of its true value and deliverables. Listen, if you like this content, do let me know in the comments. It's been a pleasure interacting with you in my recent videos with the Lucid and the Polestar. If you'd like to see my full impressions of the refreshed Polestar 2, check that video here or via its link in the description. See you in the next one.